Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's see who we have this evening. Wow, you all entered exactly at the same time. Hi, Katia. Hi, Massimiliano. Hello, Lily. And hello, Andrea. Welcome to the lesson. So this evening, we have a lesson called Family Ties. Family Ties is another way to say family connections. And in this lesson, we're going to describe your family dynamics. Uh-oh. Hi, Elena. We're going to ask and answer questions about your family. Always a good theme to talk about your family. It's one of the icebreakers that we've seen in other lessons. And I always find it's nice to know more about people and their family. So let's see. What do we have in this lesson? Dun, dun, dun. Let's start with a little bit of revision. Let's see how good you are at remembering the different people in the family. I know that many students, since they don't use this vocabulary every day, have a tendency to forget a little bit the different positions in the family. So let's look at number 1. Max is the brother of my mother. He is what? Max is the brother of my mother. Who is he for me? The brother of my mother? Come on, they're starting you off easy. This is not too bad. Well done, Elena. The uncle, yes. Good job, Lily. The brother of my mother is my uncle. And the sister of my mother is my, it's not in the list, but since we have uncle, I would like to see the feminine of uncle is. Andrea went straight to number 2. Well done. Jill, okay, so it was aunt, but it's fine. Yeah, well done. Thank you, guys. So number 2, Jill is my husband's sister. Andrea has already answered. Well done. She is my sister-in-law. You can have a brother-in-law or a sister-in-law, which is the brother or sister of your partner, of your husband or your wife. Next one. Brett is the son of my brother. Be careful, it's a boy, not a girl. Brett is the son of my brother. He's my... Watch your spelling. How do you call the son of your brother or the son of your sister? Well done, guys. You were not at all thrown by this question. My nephew. If it were a girl, not a boy, the daughter of my sister. Who is the daughter of my sister? This is not in the list, I think. The daughter of my sister is my... Yes, well done, Lily. My niece. Yes. So you can have nieces and nephews. In English, we cannot use the plural, the masculine plural to describe everyone. We have to use the masculine or the feminine. We have to distinguish the sexes. The only one that is the same is cousin. Now, number 4. Carly is my daughter's daughter. Carly is my daughter's daughter. Who is she for me? My daughter's daughter. The daughter of my daughter? Maybe you know the son of my daughter's my daughter's son. There are two different words for a boy and for a girl. No ideas? Do you guys give up? I don't believe it. Well done, Elena. Elena understood this trick question. My granddaughter. Be careful, Elena, with two D's. Granddaughter. We have to put, I know it's very strange. Usually in English, there's only one D. But in this case, as Katya says, there's a double D, but there's a T missing. I always found it strange, this double D. But there are two words put together. No? Okay, number 5 is even more difficult. I don't know if you know this one. Henry is the son of my mother and her second husband. Henry is the son of my mother and her second husband. He's my... Do you know this one? So there is some blood connection. You are connected through your mother, but you have different fathers. Good idea, Andrea and Elena, and Lily, but actually you are wrong. Stepbrother is when there is no blood connection. So for example, my mom remarried, okay? And she has a husband. This husband has children from a previous marriage. He has 2 children. These children are my mother's stepson, stepdaughter, or my stepbrother. But, Elena, you figured it out, half-brother. A half-brother or a half-sister shares one parent. The same father or the same mother. I agree with Andrea. What a mess. Families are always complicated. We say all families are dysfunctional. Yes. So number 6, I think, is the example that you talked about. Hannah is the daughter of my father's new wife. In this case, it's correct, my stepsister, because you are not connected in any way by blood to this person. Yeah, does it make sense? Are you still following me? So half-brother, half-sister, stepbrother, stepsister. Also, it's the same for the father. You can't have a half-father, but you can have a stepfather or a stepmother. Remember, the stepmother is always the bad character. Hi, Emanuele. The stepmother is always the bad character in the Disney movies and all the fairy tales. There's always a bad stepmother. My stepsister, my stepmother, my stepfather. Now that divorce is very popular, we have a lot of families that have stepbrothers, stepsisters, half-brothers, half-sisters. It's very common. So I know in Italy, it's still, maybe they're a bit behind with the times, but do any of you have a stepbrother or a stepsister or a half-brother or a half-sister? I have a stepbrother and a stepsister. Massimiliano says, please don't get divorced. I'm not planning on it. But my sister has one daughter from one husband, one previous relationship, and 3 children from a different relationship. So my niece and nephews are half-brother and half-sister. Remember, it's not very politically correct to say, this is my half-brother. You would not say this. You would only use it to explain if people don't understand, why do you look so different from your brother? Or why do you have different surnames? Because if there are two different fathers, then maybe you don't have the same family name. So in this case, you can explain, yes, this is my half brother or my half sister. But usually when you introduce the person, you would say, this is my brother or this is my sister. Yeah. Stepbrother and stepsister is fine. You can say this. But half brother doesn't sound so good. Andrea says, luckily, he only has one brother. It makes life more complicated when parents divorce and remarry and have new children, for sure. It's more difficult. Okay, let's continue. Here we have some family phrasal verbs. There are many phrasal verbs that we use to describe family, to describe appearance, to describe your connection to your relatives. So here we've divided them in two categories. One is upbringing, and one is something that you inherit. What is the difference between upbringing? What does it mean, upbringing? Can you explain to me? Katya is an only child. So no problems with brothers and sisters, half brothers, stepsisters. It's not her case. Be careful, an only child. If you say, I am the only child, then you can say, I am the only child in this family. But if I am an only child, this shows your position, the fact that you have no brothers and no sisters. So what does upbringing mean? What is the meaning of upbringing? Upbringing. How would you explain that to someone? You can say, I had a good upbringing, I had a bad upbringing, I had a very strict upbringing, I had a very religious upbringing. This is, we would say, the way you were brought up. I don't know if you know this word. Okay, I'm giving you a big hint for the next exercise. Yes, Elena says the way a child is raised, yeah? The way your parents teach you things, the way they show you how to become an adult. Yeah, this is your upbringing. Okay, so the phrasal verb to bring up. Where do I put it? With upbringing, or is it something that you inherit from your family? To inherit, do you understand? If my grandfather dies, I can inherit maybe some money, maybe I can inherit some property, yeah? But I can also inherit my blue eyes from my grandfather, yeah? This is something that is passed from generation to generation. It's not only money. So to bring up, does it mean, is it connected to upbringing or to inheritance? What do you think? You still have to think about it, guys. You're not sure? Well done. It's connected to upbringing. Yeah. So to bring up is another word for how your parents, I don't know, educate you. I don't know if it's the right word. I think it's oh, yes, Emanuela, you're right. You can also inherit debts. That is the worst inheritance you can get. Hopefully not. But I think it happens often, more often than we think. So you can ask, for example, who brought you up? Some people are brought up by their grandparents because their parents were very busy working, or some people are brought up by their mom. Maybe the dad is out of the picture, or by their single dad. There are many options. on who can bring you up. Yeah. What does it mean to take after? To take after, is it about upbringing or is it about something you inherit? And what does it mean to take after? For example, I can say, for personality, I take after my mother. For looks, maybe I take after my father's family, maybe. Yes, well done, Elena. It's definitely to inherit. Yeah. Very good. Andrea gives us a definition. Take after is to inherit character or physical characteristics from parents or even grandparents. It's possible, yes, definitely. So to raise or to be raised, Elena explained this at the beginning. To be raised is passive, of course. To raise is when you are the caretaker or the parent, usually. So, but if you speak about your experience, you can say, I was raised by my grandma, or I was raised by my nanny. Yes, upbringing. Well done, Katja. So similar to bring up, to raise are synonyms. Yeah. To run in the family. To run in the family. For example, red hair runs in the family. Blue eyes run in the family. I don't know if you could say mathematics run in the family. Or a talent for mathematics runs in the family. Yes, good job. Inherit. Andrea tonight is giving us all the definitions. Well done. You're saving me a lot of work. Something that is very common in the family. Yes, that many members of the family have this similar characteristic. To look after. What does it mean to look after? It could be, Elena, it could be something genetic, definitely, like red hair, I think it's something genetic. Sometimes it's a propensity for something, like talent for something. Sometimes it's very strange how, I don't know, you could say doctors run in the family. That means that there are many generations of doctors in the same family. I don't know if this is genetic or if it's just your environment. No? So if your father was a doctor, maybe the chances of you being a doctor are higher. So to look after, yes, it's for upbringing. Andrea gives us a synonym, to take care of. Yeah. Usually you look after someone that is younger than you, that needs help. You can look after children, but you can also look after older people, people that need help, maybe that are not 100% autonomous. Yeah. So I can also say, look after yourself, which is another way to say take care of yourself. Yeah. It could be if you're going to doing something that's not very safe, or if you're sick, I can say, oh, please look after yourself, get better. In this situation now, for example, with the coronavirus, it's definitely very important to look after yourself, to look after your family, to make sure everyone is fine. To get something from someone. I think this is quite obvious. To get something from your grandparents, from your family. It has to be someone from obviously an older generation than your own. You can't get, if you say, I got my hair color from my brother, is obviously not possible. Inherit. Yes. So let me just put them in the right category. And here we have a text called Full House. There was a TV series, I think, called Full House with a lot of children in the house. So let's read about this girl, Alice, about her upbringing. So Alice was raised in a small town. We can also use for the location. Alice was raised in a small town outside of Chicago. Her mom raised her and her 4 siblings to be independent, caring, and helpful. When she was younger, she often looked after her younger siblings. For years, her mom has tried to raise them to be religious too, since she was brought up in a very religious household. As teenagers, Alice and her siblings have rebelled against the religious upbringing. So there are maybe a few difficult words. Okay, to be raised, and you can be raised in a certain place. So you could say, I was raised in a small town. I was raised in a big city. I was raised in the countryside. It makes a difference, I think, to how you grew up. You can raise someone to be in a certain way. So I was raised to be independent. I was raised to be caring. You understand caring? It comes from take care of someone. To be caring is when you consider other people and their needs. And helpful. When she was younger, she often looked after her younger siblings. Siblings is a very important word. What does it mean? Sibling. Hi, Ginevra. Welcome to the lesson. Don't worry if you're late. No problem. We're talking about family. So what does the word sibling mean? If you don't know this, it's a good one to know. Because in Italian, when you speak about your brother and sister, or brothers and sisters, very good, guys, thank you. You can say, I have 3 brothers. And it's no problem if they are boys and girls. But in English, you cannot say, I have 3 brothers if they are not all boys. So we have a neutral word, the word sibling, which goes for brothers and sisters. So you can say, we are 3 siblings, and you include yourself. In Andrea's case, we are 2 siblings. Or you can say, I have 1 sibling, or I have 2 siblings. In my case, since I have a brother and a sister, it's much easier for me to say I have 2 siblings. Otherwise, I have to say I have 1 brother and I have 1 sister, which is a bit long. Yeah? So the younger siblings, okay, for years, her mom has tried to raise them to be religious too. Since she was brought up in a very religious household. What does the word household mean? Do you know? What is a household? So I don't know if this year is a census year in Italy. I think every 10 years in Italy there is a census, no? Where people come door to door and check who is living in this house. Yeah. So they consider the number of people that live in one house as a household. So it could be father, mother, children. It could be grandparents. It could be uncle, aunt. It could be different configurations of people that live in the same house and have family ties. If they have no family ties, for example, 2 students living together are not considered one household. Usually the money of the different people that work in the family go together to pay for the household, for rent, for electricity, all these things. So this is one unit. This unit is called a household. So for economic purposes, we can talk about the buying power of a household, how much can a family spend? How much can a household spend? In Italy, when you do your ISEE, you have to talk about the household, not just the family, not just the mom, the dad, and the child. If there are more people living in that house, you have to include them in the household. So it's not the physical building, it's the people in that building. Yeah, does it make sense? You understand? So if she comes from a religious household, it's like saying she comes from a religious family. It's a synonym. As teenagers, Alice and her siblings have rebelled, so they have gone against their religious upbringing. So they were no longer interested, or they didn't want to be religious. Teenage rebellion is very natural. Okay. So here we have a few questions. I think most of the questions we've oops, sorry. Oh, I messed up. So where was Alice raised? We said in a small town. Who raised her? Her single mom. How was she brought up? How was Alice brought up? How was she brought up? Give you a few seconds to think about it. How was she brought up? They use a few adjectives to describe her upbringing. So there's some positive qualities. I think she was brought up to be how? To be independent, caring, helpful, but she was also brought up to be what? Yes, I think it's a good quality to be brought up to be independent, yeah? I think for me, it's very important that my children be independent. I want them to learn how to be independent. And I think also helpful and caring are all good qualities, but also religious. For example, in my family, we are not very religious. So my children are not brought up to be religious. Yeah. But the religious side didn't really work, at least not in her teenage years. Then maybe later, who knows? Yeah. But many families in America are very religious. Who did Alice look after when she was younger? Who did she look after? I can imagine if she was raised by her single mom, because I think there's no dad in the story, she probably needed to help her mom. So who did she look after? Well done, guys. Yes, she looked after her siblings. A question for you guys. Do you have younger brothers and sisters? We already know that Katja is an only child. We know that Andrea has a brother, but I don't remember if his brother is older or younger. Lily, I think you have a brother, an older brother. Is that possible? Maybe I'm wrong. Elena, I don't know if you have brothers or sisters. Ginevra, what about you? What's your family situation? And you, Emanuele, can you tell me? I'm curious to know if you helped to look after your younger brothers or sisters, if you had any, or an only child, Ginevra, or if maybe your older brother or your older sister looked after you. For example, I am the big sister, I'm the older sister, and I think I was quite horrible with my brother and my sister. I was like a second mom. And I think my brother and sister hated me They would say to me, Shanti, you're not our mom. Please stop it. Yeah, Lily, oh, you have an older brother. I was right. And did he look after you, Lily, or not so much? What about the other students? Andrea, did you look after your brother or did your brother look after you? Manuela, you haven't told us anything about your family yet. But maybe, Ginevra, I don't know if you have cousins. Maybe, Ginevra, you looked after your cousins. Your brother didn't look after you. Isn't your brother a lot older than you, Lily? There's a big age difference between the two of you, no? There's a big age gap, we can say also. Ah, Elena, you have a younger sister. And you often looked after her. Yeah. That's the problem of being a big sister. Often they ask you to help with your little brothers and little sisters, even if you don't want to. Sometimes I force my son to look after his sister. But since his sister is quite young and my son is only 8, I trust him up to a certain point. I have to check what is happening because there could be some problems. Lily has to look after her nephews. Yes, so sometimes you have to look after, even if you didn't have a brother and sister, you have to look after your nieces, your nephews. Maybe you had to look after your cousins that are younger. So there's always an opportunity to look after someone. Let's continue to the next story. First, sorry, there were questions about you guys. So I already asked you the question if you looked after your siblings. Where were you raised and who raised you? If you don't mind sharing. Poor boy, Emanuele says about my son. He has to learn. But my son, it depends on the moment of the day. Sometimes he's very happy to play with his sister, and sometimes he is very unhappy to play with his sister. So depends on the moment. But they often go looking for each other. You know how brothers and sisters often fight and you think they hate each other, but then when you separate them, they want to get back together and play together again. So yeah, but my son, I don't give my son so much work to do. He doesn't have to change his sister's diapers. Not yet. Yeah, Lily, your brother is 9 years older. Yeah, so it's that's a really big age gap, and I think it's difficult to play together. But you know, you have to learn to be a good big brother or a good big sister. Life is hard. So, guys, where were you raised and who raised you? Were you all raised by your moms or by your dads or by your grandparents or by a nanny? Who raised you? I know that often parents work a lot and children spend a lot of time with their grandparents in Italy. I don't know, also maybe in China it's similar. And so a lot, like my husband, I know his parents both worked, so he would go after school. He would spend a lot of time at his grandparents' house. So I wouldn't say that his grandparents raised him, but they really participated to his upbringing. So Katya says she was raised in Prato by her grandparents. Yeah, you see? Also, Elena spent a lot of time with her maternal grandmother. Yeah. When you talk about your mother's side of the family, you can say your maternal grandparents or grandmother. And if you're talking about your father's side, you can say your paternal grandparents. Yeah. So I see that many people were raised by their grandparents, and also in Andreas' case, by his mother's aunt. So how do we call the aunt of your mother or the aunt of your father for you? Do you know this word? It's called a great aunt. A great aunt is the sister of your grandma or the sister of your grandfather, your great aunt. Emanuele spent a lot of time with his friends. So were you raised by your friends, Emanuele? You were a wild child. So Ginevra says that she's 13, so her parents are raising her. Be careful, not raise up, huh? Raise. Bring up, but raise. In Prato, yes. I was born in France, in the south of France, but I was raised near Geneva, near Switzerland. And I spent little time with my grandparents. My maternal side was in the United States, so I didn't see them very often. And my paternal side lived in the south of France, so I would see them maybe once a year. And when I arrived in Italy, I was very surprised how much Italian families are close, how much time they spend together. That in Italy, it's very normal for grandparents to raise the children or take care of the children almost every day, which is a big advantage for the parents, of course. Okay, let's continue. Here we have a different type of family. Mike takes after his father. They have the same brown hair and green eyes. Mike's siblings all get their blonde hair and blue eyes from his mom. All of Mike's family is very athletic. It must run in the family. His paternal grandmother says that it was inherited from her parents. They had both competed in the Olympics. So here we have more words about inheriting some characteristics from your family. Let's see the questions. If there's a word that you don't understand, please don't hesitate and let me know. Huh? Who does Mike take after? Is he more like his father or more like his mother? Yeah? Who does he take after? In some families, you can obviously see who the child takes after. In other families, it's more difficult to see. It's more of a mix, yeah? For example, I don't think I take after my mom or my dad so much, but maybe I cannot see it. Maybe if you see me with my family, you can see the similarity. Yes, good job. Takes after his father. Who do Mike's siblings get their blonde hair from? So they inherited another characteristic, another physical trait. Who did they inherit it from? For example, I think I got my thin hair and also maybe my hair color from my dad. We have straight, thin hair. My mom has darker, thicker hair. Yes, they got their blonde hair from their mom. What trait runs in Mike's family? They all have something in common, something that connects them all. a characteristic. What is it? So I don't know if this is from their DNA, from their genes, or if it's just the environment. If everyone is sporty in your family, then maybe it's normal for you to be sporty. I don't know. For sure, your body type can make it easier for you to be sporty or to be athletic. In this case, they say very athletic. Mhm. According to Mike's grandmother, who did they inherit that trait from? Your father was sporty, Katya. My parents were really not sporty. The only sport, if we can say a sport, that my dad did was walking. He loves hiking in the mountains, but I've never seen my parents do any sport in my whole life. And I can see that maybe this is why I'm not a sporty person. I blame them for this. You understand? To blame, dare la culpa. I'm blaming them for my laziness. So Katya is sporty too. So maybe the fact that her father was sporty makes her sporty. Yes, they take after their grandparents. It's typical when people say, you get this from my side of the family. Usually when it's a good characteristic. If it's something good, you say, he takes this from me. If it's something bad, he takes this from his dad or from his dad's family. So you could say, you've inherited your stubbornness from your mother. Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit more about you guys. Oh, no, too fast, too fast. I clicked too many times. Who do you take after? Is it obvious that you take after someone physically in your family? Like, are you very similar in looks to someone in your family, or not really? It could be your mom, your dad, but it could also be your grandparents. For example, I think I get my height from my mother's side of the family. Everyone in my mom's family is tall, especially my uncles are very tall. In my father's family, less. So what about you guys? Who do you take after? Do you take after your mom or your dad? Or you don't know? I think my children take after their father more than after me, to be honest, at least for the moment. So Andrea says for his character, he takes after his mother, but physically he takes after his dad. This can be true also. Your personality is one thing and your physical characteristics are another. Katya takes after her father. What about the other students? Lily, Emanuele, Ginevra, Elena. Did I miss anyone? Who do you take after? You take after your dad, Lily. Okay. Physically. And for your personality? Maximilian, welcome back. Good joke. Good joke, Massimiliano. I look like the neighbor, not like the postman. I take after the postman. Lily has nothing in common with your mom, not even personality. You're very different from her. Yeah, sometimes we can be very different from our parents. But it's very strange when you notice that you have similar reactions to your parents, or you say things in a similar way, or I always feel a bit shocked when I say, like, oh my God, this is exactly what my dad would do, or this is exactly what my mom would say. And then I panic. You take after your mom, Elena. Both your mom and your dad for the personality, but for your physically, you take after your mom. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can take a certain body type from your mom or from your dad. Like, if you're usually, I think women physically look more similar to their mothers, at least their body, but then the face can be completely different. Is there something, a trait that runs in your family where many people have this similar characteristic? For example, in my family, where almost everyone is tall and thin. My dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, we're all a bit like that. Well, the postman can have a good personality. Why not? It's harder to tell about the personality, Massimiliano. It's easier to tell about the physical appearance. So, any traits that run in your family? No? Okay, guys. Family matters. We have an article, a paragraph, and we have to insert the verbs inside the gaps. Be careful, you have to conjugate the verbs. Think before you speak. I like this. Anna says, we eat a lot. It must run in the family. I think it runs in every Italian family, Elena. Ginevra says, most of my family has brown hair. So maybe this is a trait that runs in the family for sure. Definitely. I like this. Andrea says, Elena, maybe we're siblings and we don't know. Yeah, sometimes as a joke, you can say, we are brothers and from different mothers. Or we are siblings from different mothers, which is to say that we're very similar. So we must be from the same family, but we have a different mom or a different dad. It's a joke. So, I am an only child. I have bright red hair. It for generations. What do I put here? I am an only child. I have bright red hair. It for generations. Well done, Katya. It runs in the family for generations. Do I put present simple or should I put a different tense? What do you think? Because this is something that started in the past and is still true today. When something started in the past and is still true today, which tense should I use, guys? Think about it. Elena gives us present perfect continuous, which is an option, or we can use just present perfect simple. Let's see. It has run in the family. Yeah, present perfect. It has continued in the family from a long time, and it still continues today. I was raised in South Carolina. Since or for? What do I choose? I was a baby, my dad's mom, my paternal grandmother, me. So first we have to decide if we want for or since. So what do you think is the correct option? Remember, since indicates the start of a moment, like a moment, the start of an experience. For describes a duration, something that lasts, a period of time. Since, thank you. Since I was a baby, my dad's mom, my paternal grandmother, what do I put? When you have since or for, which tense should I probably use? Be careful. So it's from the moment that I was a little baby until now. My paternal grandmother, be careful, Katya, it's third person. So my paternal grandmother, present perfect continuous. We could use present perfect continuous or probably even present perfect. Has looked after me. Well done, Lily. So since I was a baby, my dad's mom, my paternal grandmother, has looked after me. Has been looking after me, it would be okay. It feels more continuous. If you say it feels more like she has been looking after me nonstop, but we could use it. Remember, there's a small difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous. Usually, present perfect continuous is for a shorter amount of time, while present perfect is for a longer period. So, for example, I have lived in Prato for 20 years. I have been living in Prato for 2 months. Yeah. By the time I was 3, my parents were divorced. What do I put? Since or for then, my mom what would be better, for or since? Good, Katya. Good, Andrea. Good, Lily. Since. Since then, my mom... We have... Okay, look after is eliminated. Has run in the family is eliminated. We have want, remarry, and consider. So it could be hasn't remarried, or it could be... I don't know if it's negative or positive. Let's try negative. Since then, my mom hasn't remarried. Yeah, I think you're right. Reading the next part of the text. Since then, my mom hasn't remarried. Then we continue. Since or for years. What do you think is the better answer? Since years or for years? This whole, yes, well done, guys. For years. My mom to find someone to marry. And for years, again, is something that started in the past and is still true, probably. I have wanted. So this is a bit difficult. With for, it could be 2 options. It could be if this person still wants their mom to marry, you would say, for years, I have wanted my mom to find someone to marry. And now you still want this. If it's something that you wanted before and now you don't want anymore, it's over, you can say, for years, I wanted my mom to find someone. And now I don't care. Yeah. So both would be correct. It just depends on context. Let's see what the text gives us. 4 years I have wanted. So this person still wants their mom to find someone. Recently, my dad. Recently, my dad. What do I put? Remember, recently is another indicator of what? What tense goes with recently, guys? Recently is very unspecific. I can't say it. It's not. It's an unspecific time, general time. And with recently, we always use present perfect. Ta, ta, ta. So recently, my dad has remarried. My stepmom doesn't have any children, and they. So no, everything was in present perfect. The last verb, is it still in present perfect, or is it a trap? Think carefully. The verb is to consider, but how do I conjugate this verb? Well done, everyone. You haven't fallen in the trap. Maybe it was easy. Oh. No, I fell in the trap. So it could be correct. They are considering now at this moment, but we could say that they have considered adopting, means that they started in the past and they're still considering it now. So if they have considered, it's not a brand new idea. It's they've been thinking about it. If they are considering, it's an idea that they just had. So it could be both. You're not wrong. In my head, I was sure that it was they are considering, but they kept it all in present perfect to fool us. Let's continue. Here we have some adjectives that describe different types of people. We have private, dependable, sensitive, and mature. Do you understand all these adjectives? Private, no problem. No, dependable. Dependable is a good adjective. What does it mean? For example, you could say she's a dependable person. What does it mean to be dependable? You can also say he's not very dependable. To be dependable is when you can be counted on. I know that you're going to do whatever you say you're going to do. Yeah. So it's similar to trustworthy. I don't know this word. Maybe it's even more difficult. Trustworthy. You can trust this person. Sensitive is quite like yes, well done. You can trust him or her. Sensitive is an emotional person, a person that yeah, I don't know. It's a good synonym. Reliable, dependable. They're very similar. Sensitive, kind of emotional. They have strong emotions, and mature. So, in your opinion, these adjectives describe the first child, the first sibling, the middle child, or the baby of the family. If you had to choose, who do you think these adjectives describe? You think the first child is private, dependable, sensitive, and mature? So from your experience or the people you know, do you think this would describe the first child well or not? Because here we have another option: leader, intelligent, responsible, and ambitious. Who do you think that describes? The first child, middle child, or the baby of the family? You understand all these words? Yeah? Responsible, ambitious, I think no problem. Then the final, we have two more descriptions. Social butterfly, peacekeeper, fairness obsessed. So a fairness obsessed, I would say that maybe the middle child is fairness obsessed. They want everything to be fair. So if my brother gets one biscuit, I should get one biscuit. This is fair. Then the last one is a risk taker. He's free-spirited, or she's free-spirited, creative, and competitive. So for homework, if you want, I'm going to give you the link to an article that discusses the birth orders, the order in which siblings are born, and how this can influence their personality. If you're interested at home, you can read this article and decide if it's correct or not. Yeah. If you agree with these descriptions, and you can check the video again and see these adjectives and see which one matches the best. Okay, that's it for tonight. But remember that you have another focus on Wednesday at 11, another focus on Thursday at 7. And I think for this week, that's it. Obviously, feel free to go to other people's focuses. I know that 4, 5, or is a bit low for you. There's a 6, 7 that maybe could be interesting on Wednesday, on Thursday, and on Friday. So have a look at the email that the school sent you. Bye. See you soon.